accidents are terrifying experiences. You're hurt, and you need someone on your side who understands. Call the Advocates. They have over 20 years' experience with accident cases and have recovered settlements for hundreds of other motorcyclists. They can handle the medical bills and deal with the insurance company so you can focus on recovering and getting back on your bike. The Advocates are my motorcycle attorneys.
You deserve clear, risk-free advice to help get you back on your feet. You deserve an advocate.
This is The Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find The Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, The Monty Show live on your YouTube machine. Hello, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, everywhere you want to be. Find The Monty Show. As always, presented by The Advocates, theadvocates.com. All of you reaching out this weekend asking for referrals. I'm telling you, accidents with trucks, big deal. Big deal. When you get in an accident with a big rig, you need the experts who know how to handle that. That's why you trust the Advocates, where you never pay the Advocates out of pocket. In fact, you don't pay the Advocates unless and until they win your case. And some people have asked me what that means. What that means is the Advocates are only going to take your case if they believe they can win it. And when you've been in an accident and you are not at fault, the Advocates are not going to say, okay, scratch us a check for $10,000 and we'll see what we can do, which is what you get out of most attorneys. No, what the Advocates do is they understand that you're already under pressure and you feel stress. The last thing you need to do is shake the couch cushions to try and afford to get what you already deserve, which is somebody to fight for you so you can recover, so you can get back to the best version of yourself for you and your family. That's why you go to the Advocates, where you never reach into your pocket to pay the Advocates. In fact, you could chat with an injury attorney 24/7, 365 at theadvocates.com. A very interesting weekend of football. We have got to talk about NFL rookie quarterbacks. The Olympics are over. I think it is the best Olympics of my lifetime. I watched a ton of the Olympics. As I've talked about on the show, if I want stimulating physical activity before I fall asleep at night, I had to watch the Olympics. It really wasn't a choice. I'm kidding. I loved it. Mrs. Monty and I spent a lot of time watching the Olympics. You don't have, because you're a millennial, you don't understand history.
Right.
But as somebody that understands and appreciates history, I can tell you this is the best Olympics I've ever seen. From the opening ceremony, I thought the closing ceremony was the Tom Cruise stuff with Snoop and Dre, Red Hot Chili Peppers. I don't know whatever that Billie Eilish terrible performance was, but I thought the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Snoop and Dre, I thought Tom Cruise jumping off the top of the stadium into the airplane, flying back to Los Angeles, the skydive, the spectacular, changing the Hollywood sign, spectacular. I thought the whole thing was so well done. I think the bar for Los Angeles is incredibly high.
Yeah.
I don't know how the LA Olympic Committee will meet to that level because it was so good. Not to mention the performances on the track, in the pool, on the courts, in the fields were awesome. The competition, the gymnastics, the Simone Biles story, the gold medal for the men, and Jason Tatum, becoming a complete embarrassment to him and his family. I thought it was an amazing Olympics.
Yeah, I mean, I think it lived up to it. I mean, there were a lot of times where I was the only thing I didn't like was the time difference. That was the only hard part. I felt like, if you were unable to watch it live in the middle of your day, you had to make sure you stayed off of Twitter, and you had to make sure that you did the whole "we're not going to talk about it" thing until I can watch it tonight situation. But other than that, I completely agree. I think it lived up to it. I think that it was something that we could all get around, which I'm a big fan of. Like, I feel like most years football is the only thing that we can all talk about. And I felt like this kind of added to the sports calendar this year. And it was nice to have something to actually discuss and watch and have fun with over the weekend.
To bridge the gap in July, certainly. But yeah, I hope that the Olympics in LA live up to that. From a security perspective, from a ceremonial perspective, like I just think I don't know how you beat that show. I don't know how you outdo. I don't even think you try. I think you have to be, the thing I really appreciated about this Olympic Games, it was quintessential Paris. I thought from every single Parisian to the food to the really terrible Olympic Village, which is going to be much better.
To the unsanitary river that was controversial, that maybe they shouldn't have been swimming in, or maybe they should have been. Who the hell knows?
I think it is. I thought the opening ceremonies, the closing ceremony, I thought they were spectacular. I mean, the opening ceremonies was everything that you go to Paris for. The arts, the pageantry, the shows, the closing ceremonies, with the history of the rings and this dude in gold. And I just thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
I thought it was really cool. I think the whole thing was.
I certainly think the athletic part of the Olympics, the events themselves, absolutely outshined any of the drama we had early on with the opening ceremonies, or, all jokes aside, the whole river situation that everyone wanted to make this huge deal about.
The river in Paris, there's a huge river that runs through the middle of Paris that they were going to do the triathlon in. And they did. And people got sick because of the bacteria level in the river because of the weather and the rain and the runoff. And so there was certainly a lot to that. But yeah, I thought the whole thing was amazing. And then Kyle Whittingham did another interview over the weekend and lit the world on fire. And you guys know this is something we've talked about at length on the show. Kyle Whittingham, I truly believe is a top 5 coach in college football. I think he is a wildly respectful guy. He is somebody that understands how important the game is. He is full of integrity. I love Kyle Whittingham. I'm a huge fan. I think he is a maker of men. It's everything. Kyle Whittingham is everything you want a football coach to be. The University of Utah football program is everything you want a football program to be. And that's not an indictment, BYU fan. Please don't piss yourself. That's not an indictment or a comment about what BYU is not. I'm simply saying that Kyle Whittingham is somebody that I admire and I look up to. He's a leader of men. He is a leader in our community. And when he speaks, I listen. And he did an interview with a pretty crappy journalist. Journalist is probably strong. Somebody who stole a storyline from Big 12 Media Day from the guys at 365 Sports. Kyle Whittingham doubled down on his comments that he made at Big 12 Media Day when he said this.
So much change already, and there's more on the horizon, I can tell you that. We're not done. I think it's ultimately going to get to 2 super conferences and their own playoff system and probably break away from the NC2A and do, have a commissioner and all. An NFL minor league model, I think, is where we're heading in that regard.
Yeah, I have no doubt about that, mainly because we're one of the first people who told you they were going to model it after the NFL, and all of you hyenas told us we were jackwagons. Well, you have multiple people now saying that, and Kyle Whittingham, in fact, doubled down again this weekend in an interview with a pretty terrible reporter when he said this: I see expansion of the playoff with that to 16 teams. The short version is super conference. I think it's going to boil down to 40 to 60 teams, maybe in a super conference. I wouldn't be surprised if I lose my voice while reading this. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't play anybody but other super conference teams. I mean, you can go back and forth on this. And you can go back and forth on this.
Yeah.
But the simple truth is, I don't think it's an if anymore. With all due respect to the reporters who said that we're stupid, as one reporter said, and we don't know anything. Totally get it. What I'm telling you is the Super League is not dead. The Super League, I think, is going to be, I think it is probably a minimum of 2 years away. And I don't think there's any doubt that they're going to model it after the NFL playoffs, and it will be a minor league for the National Football League. And I think that's what it should be.
Absolutely. And I think that, this Super League concept is one that is never going to die because it's viable. And I think we've taken the next step in the bigger picture from, hey, is it dead or not dead, to, hey, is it coming or not coming, to, yeah, it is happening. It is on the horizon. It is in the works. And according to Kyle Whittingham, it's anywhere between 2 to 4 years out. And I think that's exactly what we said the first time we ever talked about it. And I think Kyle Whittingham is someone who is always been a big proponent of changing the sport and growing the sport and getting the sport to a place where it's all decided on the field and just a more efficient and proper setup. And I think that ultimately is what the Super League is. I mean, if you go around college football and, you think about, what the issue with college football has been for decades, it's always been, hey, we got to have people or a computer or a formula or whatever decide who's going where and what bowl games are doing what. And I think that's where the sport can improve. And I think it works so well to go that route, because not only can the sport improve that way, then you can start running money through it easier. It just makes more sense. And so when you look at it in the big picture, yeah, it is essentially an NFL minor league system. And my only question is, in the long term, and I don't know that we'll have an answer to this, right away, but I wonder for the group of 5 schools, how does this, if you're sitting here at a smaller school that's got a strong football program and you're like, yeah, hey, the power schools are going to a Super League and they're going to change their format. How do we benefit from that? How can we make it better for us? And that, I think, for the entire landscape is the bigger question.
Yeah, I don't think anybody in the SEC gives a rat's ass about a G5 team. I truly do not. And I think that answer is very clear. I think you're going to have the G5 have its own playoff. They'll have their own TV contract, just as it should be. We're talking about, in my opinion, I still maintain the number. I'm with Kyle Whittingham on this. I think the number is probably 60 to 80. And 60 feels better than 80. And I think it is very simply 60 universities in this country that want to spend hundreds of millions of dollars on athletics. That's what this comes down to, because the days of smaller budgets, the days of Kyle Whittingham being the original BCS buster, those days are over. We're never going back. And I think when you look at the money, I am fond of a saying that you should use cough drops or something. I am fond of the saying that it's never about the money you are currently making. It is about the money you are not currently making. And when you look at college football, the money that they are not currently making is too large for them not to change the system. Because you look at the new college football playoff TV contract, that deal was always going to get done. You'll remember, well, that deal's not going to get done. There's nobody. Why? Because they're going to make a ton of money, so it's going to get done.
Yeah.
Nobody wants ESPN. Apparently they do. And I'll continue to say this. The reason the College Football Super League is coming is because there's so much money that comes with it. And when you can, at the level that we're talking about, and if you just take the University of Utah on its own as an example, that is an educational institution that happens to have a sports department. And don't get this wrong. And we're going to talk about Deion Sanders in a minute. Colorado Boulder is an educational bastion. That's a great institution of higher learning that is tolerating Deion Sanders right now. And as soon as he's not making them the money he's making them now, what happens? The same thing with college football.
Yeah.
In totality. You look at a university like Utah, if they can make tens of millions of dollars more than they are making now, and they can apply that to new facilities, if they can apply that to new educators, infrastructure, if you can apply that to attract a higher cut of professor, a higher cut of educator, a higher cut of administrator, you're doing that. Because that's ultimately, at the end of the day, what it's about. And there's more money in the college football Super League than in the current system. It's better for the young people because college football is not college basketball. You can't play a year and then go get to the NFL.
Right.
Right? You have to mature your body. You have to mature your emotions to be really good at NFL football. That's what college football is about. So guys like Kyle Whittingham, who are experts in taking 18-year-old kids and turning them into 21-year-old men, those are the guys that are going to benefit at the highest level. Whether Witt's still coaching when the Super League happens, I don't know. It's very interesting. Did anybody watch Hard Knocks with the Chicago Bears?
The Bears.
Who was one of the stars of the first episode of Hard Knocks?
Oh, I don't know. Marty Caleb Williams?
No. How about Nick Saban?
Yeah.
How about Nick Saban meeting with Ebersucks and talking about how you develop quarterbacks? And that's exactly what the game of football is about. And I think it's awesome. I think it's everything you want. I think it's everything you need. And I'm curious in the comments section, are you a fan of the Super League? Are you excited about a concept? And let's just call it, cut the middle, 70 teams that each probably have an expenditure of over $100 million in costs related to athletics and football, mainly football, because the conference structure, the other thing we need to get right, the Big 12's not going away. I love that conversation over the week. Oh, the Big 12's in trouble here. Look at what idiot up in the Northwest wrote. The conferences aren't going away. You still have basketball. You still have stick and ball. You still have water sports. If we learned anything at the Olympics, swimming's a huge sport. Yeah. Track and field's a huge sport.
Just because you don't see it every day doesn't mean it ain't happening.
So my point is, this is a football conversation. Are you in favor of it? Are you in favor of a model where there's no supposition or, well, yeah, I'm going to vote for Texas to get in over the quarterbackless Florida State? I'm very much in favor of that. I'm very much in favor of the NFL standings, the NFL wild card. You're in because you won, you're out because you lost.
Yeah, and I think as fans, it makes it better. Like, you think about the drama around the college football playoff, and, you guys remember the Herb Street, screenshot off ESPN with the helmets in the background, and, like, everybody freaked out about that. And it's like, dude, like, why don't we have a system where we know, okay, hey, you're playing in this bowl game, and you've got a sponsor for that. You've got two teams on the field. Whoever wins is going here. You know, I mean, it really should be that simple. And yeah, I do think, anywhere between 60 and 80 teams is a perfectly fine number. It's workable. It's doable. I love the idea of the super conference teams just playing each other all year long. Like, just make it a clean cut, easy to understand system. Like, that's it. It doesn't need to be a complicated situation. You're talking about, and this is the thing with football. I think, we get so many guys who like break down game tape and we make it all complicated. Dude, football is one of the easiest sports to understand. It's not hard. It's very easy. Like, let's not overcomplicate this sport. It's team A versus team B, and whoever wins is going here. Like, it should literally be that simple. And then because it's that simple, you're going to get all the sponsorship dollars flowing in. And by the way, if you get a good matchup, you're going to get more money. So we don't need computers and people and all these things deciding it. And on top of that, I would still say, I think if you're a Florida State fan, this should feel good. You should be supporting this concept, man.
And I think to that point, we're already in a situation where leagues and conferences are saying, Hey, if you don't make a bowl game, your distribution shrinking. Hey, if you go to the college football playoff, you're getting exponentially more money. We're seeing uneven revenue sharing in larger conferences. And that's the way it should be. It shouldn't be a thing where Florida State's guaranteed to get more money than everybody else. If you go to the college football playoff, you're getting more money than everybody else. If you only go to a bowl game, you're going to get more money than people who don't go to bowl games. If you go to the tournament and you're the reason the conference gets tournament shares, you're getting more of that tournament share than the people who didn't go to the tournament.
Yeah.
It really is as simple as that. And if you look at what we've talked about, for the financial success of college athletics, basketball is incredibly important. You have to have football and basketball at a very high level. Florida State, or I mean, if you look at, again, Utah, BYU, what have we talked about for how many years? Where did the Utah basketball program go to?
Yeah.
Right. If you look around this country, Kansas is a great example of this. UK, you look at John Calipari's exit from UK, and you say to yourself, man, what a precipitous fall off that was. But at Kentucky, you have sort of basketball and sort of football, but you're not elite right now in either one. But then you look at Kansas and you say, well, rock chalk, dude. We've got arguably a top 3 team in the Big 12 this year. And you've got one of the best coaches of the modern era in Bill Self in college basketball. You're making money.
Cooking with gas.
You can do whatever you want. But if you are, if you're Cincinnati's not winning at football or basketball right now. Like, I look at Houston. Look at the sense of urgency that the Cougars of Houston are operating with athletically. They know they're elite in basketball, one of the best programs in the country. They've got to get football right. And you fired a coach and you hired one of the hottest coaches in college football. And now it's time to go and win. It's what I say about our friend Joey in Lubbock.
Yeah.
No more excuses. You're clearly moving in the right direction in basketball. I think we can all agree, right? You're in the best basketball conference in the country. And now the football team's got to come through and raise all ships. It's what I always say about 8-ball down in Baylor. Unforgivable you didn't whack that dude.
Yeah.
Unforgivable.
Well, it just tells everybody the standards that you operate with. And again, I
agree with that.
I completely agree. If you're not going to go to a bowl game or go to the tournament, then you shouldn't be getting shares of that money. And the problem is, the conversation immediately shifts to, well, Marty, in the Big 12, what happens if you got, several teams who don't go to the playoff or to bowl games? Well, then Brett Yormark's got to figure out how to change that. And Brett Yormark's got to figure out how to incentivize these schools to spend a little bit more money. And the problem is, for the Big 12, unlike for the ACC, let's say, the Big 12's got a bunch of brands in it that should be good, that are mediocre, I would say. The ACC has a bunch of basketball schools that are pretty good at basketball and one football school right now. So I'm not really sure that we can say that the ACC is in a stronger position for all the Big 12 haters.
Isn't Duke and Carolina the exact essence of this conversation?
Yeah.
They both play football. They sort of win football games. And you've put multiple quarterbacks in the NFL now. But do you really play football? You don't really play football.
No, you're basketball schools.
But every football conference in this country, including any potential Super League, would love and will have Duke and North Carolina in it.
Yep.
End of story. Because and I can't emphasize this enough. If you look at who was a victim in realignment, Washington State and Oregon State. Yes for Oregon State, no for Washington State. Look at San Diego State. Does San Diego State want to spend the money that's required to play in a Super League?
No, I don't believe they do. Because if you did, you'd be spending it already.
I would tend to agree with that.
Like, if you were comfortable with it, if you were, again, if you look around the landscape, like, talking about Houston. Nobody would even be talking about Houston unless
it's Houston.
Nobody would be talking about Houston and their huge comeback in athletics unless they had spent money and gone on the recruiting trail and improved the basketball
and cheated
program.
to win in baseball. Oh, that's
yeah,
Major
but nobody
League
cares
Baseball.
about cheating in college
Never mind.
athletics.
It's fine.
We don't care about that. Remember, Jim? So anyway, the point is that I just look around and I say, yeah, Houston probably makes the cut because of their basketball program. San Diego State's not making the cut. Washington State is not making the cut. And I think you go around the country and there are several bubble teams.
I think you look at any P5 team right now, every team in the Big 12 is in. There's not a P5 team right now a P4 in the two wing nuts out west. I don't think that there is a P4 right now that gets whacked.
I think there's a couple in the SEC. I think Georgia Tech, right? Isn't Georgia Tech on the border?
No.
You think they're just automatically in?
Unless they don't want to be in. Yeah, I do.
That's crazy.
I do.
I see. That's the part of the Super League I don't understand. How are you going to put Georgia Tech in the Super League?
Vanderbilt.
But what? Vanderbilt's getting in on name alone? When's the last time Vanderbilt's done anything?
Hello, Jay Cutler. I'm telling you, that feels like a want to versus are you able to?
Yeah,
they're in. If you want to be in, you're in. I think it's as simple as that. I look at more of the top G5 schools, the Bossa States. I look at Fresno State. Fresno State's a pretty good example of this. Look at UConn. Does UConn want into a college football super league? Fuck no.
No.
You're not putting UConn football in a super league.
No.
They don't need it. Why would you? If you're UConn and you are that mighty of a basketball school, why would you want anything to do with the super league? That makes no sense to me. Now, Duke and Carolina, because anything they do in football benefits their basketball program. Absolutely. Super League. Georgia Tech, a historical, and again, I know you guys in the millennial generation don't know anything about history.
Yeah.
But Georgia Tech, a historical basketball power. Absolutely. Syracuse? Nah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm not doing it. Right? You look at the G5s. I look at, again, I think Boise, Fresno State, San Diego State. Can you really make me an argument that any of those three schools can compete at the highest level? I would say no. Your basketball programs, San Diego State's interesting. Their basketball program has been very good of late. But is it historically good? Probably not. Is their football program historically good? Probably not.
No.
Are they able in the California state system to spend $100 million a year? Not close. No, absolutely.
I don't know.
Not.
What's UCLA contributing?
Absolutely not. Well, but UCLA can UCLA afford it? Can Cal Berkeley afford it? And this is why I say about Washington State. Can Washington State athletics make the argument that they can pay kids and expand roster sizes and scholarships and expand infrastructure? No, man, they had a damn near staff revolt last year. No, the answer is no.
But I also think there's some of this too. Like I agree with that. I mean, you're not going to be able to afford it, but yeah, I also think that there's this conversation of like you can't just you're not going to have 100 teams in this thing, and there's going to be teams, and I don't know what those teams are going to be yet, but there's definitely going to be the try-hard team that wants to go beyond their means to get into the Super League that probably shouldn't be there. And someone's going to have to say, yeah, you know what? You're probably not a fit, man. And I appreciate the enthusiasm, but, it's probably not a good idea. And I'm just curious how that part of the conversation is going to go, because it's always this way in life. With anything that is like the new shiny object, there's always going to be the guy who maybe, isn't a big-time winner, has been to a tournament once in a blue moon.
Yeah.
And they happen to do that recently, and they're going to lean on that. And it's like, bro, like we all know that, okay, you may have been like, I love the historical power thing, or like, hey, we did this 20 years ago. And it's like, bro, that's cool you did it 20 years ago, but that doesn't mean that you have the annual revenue for at least like 5 years to justify doing this thing.
But I also think that you're in a run-up period. You're looking at a massive bill for this settlement that's about to become final.
Yeah.
You're looking at a massive bill to expand scholarships. That's so much more money. And I think people think, well, yeah, that's just a scholarship. I mean, they're just going to let the kid go. That's a lot more money. The infrastructure required to support paying the players, to support the scholarships. You in college football, you've got to support the kid academically. In college basketball, and I think a lot of people know this, the one and dones, there's a lot of kids who don't ever go to a class in college. Do you guys understand that? That there are a lot of college basketball players that are one and done that never see the inside of a lecture hall. College basketball is completely different. College football is now a huge expenditure, huge revenue generator. And I understand not everybody is the Ohio State or Notre Dame. I totally understand that not everybody's Georgia, Bama. Totally get it, bro.
Cashless.
Right? There's a lot of poor SOBs out there. And this is, again, why I ask about the historical basketball powers.
Yeah.
But I look at who's another fringe G5 school? Tulane or Memphis. Look at Memphis has been begging for how long?
Right.
For how long? Memphis going to spend $100 million a year on football? Memphis going to do what it takes? Is Memphis going to do what Boise State? Look at the money they're putting into facilities at Boise State. Boise State's shown the wherewithal. Right? I don't know that there are very many G5s across this country that can do what Boise State's doing. Not Northern Illinois, not
Well, what about SMU?
SMU.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
But SMU's a very interesting example. SMU's in now.
Yeah.
SMU's a P4 now.
Yeah.
And all we've heard about is, well, they're collectives. And collectives.
They're boosters.
Collectives have now taken this significant jump in importance. I mean, you have athletic directors that are quitting their jobs to go run collectives.
And you have
wild
head
to me.
coaches saying that it's the collective's job to discipline their football players for off the field issues. That's how important collectives are right now.
And I don't disagree with that, because not to ramble on about this, but do you guys understand now that you have 18-year-old kids there? You have 16-year-old kids that are getting into agreements with collectives, signing contracts, and then getting in trouble and realizing real-world consequences for getting into trouble. Well, is that the 16-year-old fault or the collective's fault for getting in business with a 16-year-old?
Right.
Nobody cares about that answer, because this is just the business we're in now. Right? This is the business we're in now. And I don't know how you justify, as a university, paying a softball player $1 million, allegedly, because now it's starting to sound like that deal didn't actually happen. But you're paying softball players $1 million or more. Like, who's making that money back? Who's making that money back on Mikey Williams, the basketball player involved in a shooting?
Man, who's now just fell off the face of the earth after getting in trouble.
Nobody's making that money back. And he's on scholarship. Nobody's making that money back. They paid Mikey Williams.
But like, Mikey Williams was a guy who was a star.
Mikey Williams was a social media. Do you guys know that? Just search Mikey, M-I-K-E-Y Williams. And you look at his story, and I want to say he was 6'17" when he got involved in the shooting. I want to say, like,
and I, he's on the comeback trail or whatever, but just the fall from where he was.
Yeah, April 2023, he was arrested on 5 charges of assault with a deadly weapon because he fired into a car. lost everything he had in basketball. And now he pled out, no jail time. And I think he's at UCF, South Florida. No, he's at he's at UCF, Central Florida. But how much money did sponsors lose on that kid? That's the problem. And the issue becomes, and I think it's a really good point. At what point does the university just give it to the collective? I think a lot of them are doing it now.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily believe it's good. We have Mike Gundy talking about how he routinely drives drunk at Big 12 Media Day.
Yeah.
Or at least that's how it appeared and sounded to my ears.
I'm a man.
That's wild that a guy of Mike Gundy's level said that.
Yeah. Well, maybe he's not that level.
I can't even imagine it.
Yeah, and that's why I think for the school and for head coaches, all jokes aside about what Kirby said about collectives,
crazy.
like I think that's why you're essentially, if you're the school, like if you're a chancellor, let's say, or an athletic director, or someone in management of the school or the athletic department, having to say like, hey, yeah, if you're gonna go and do deals with collectives. Hey, the collective gave you that Hellcat or that Lambo or that car that you then went and sped off in with your friends and, had a gun.
Kirby's a really interesting thing. People are dead at Georgia.
Yeah, bro.
That's not even an exaggeration.
And Kirby wants to sit out here and say that it's the collective's responsibility.
And it's multiple yearly, every summer, cats are getting in trouble driving. Do you understand how many guys have gotten in trouble with car crime at Georgia?
But the thing that stands out to me about this collective angle is that Kirby and guys like him are just looking to pass the buck because.
But wouldn't you?
Well, I would probably, but think
do you
about
understand
this.
how much responsibility handing all this shit to the collective takes a lot of stuff off his plate?
But he doesn't get a free pass. The trouble was happening before the collective started.
It doesn't matter though. That doesn't make. See, we deal in fantasy land and we deal in idealism. Fuck that. What we are talking about is Kirby Smart is doing what every coach should do.
Yeah, the only difference is dudes are dead, as you said.
Right. But how much that was that 2 years ago now?
Not long enough for people forgot.
No, of course not. But now the collective actually has a real seat at the table. Now you're under contract. If you get a DUI driving an all SRT, that comes out of the ass of the collective, not the football program. But it's brilliant.
But wouldn't you agree that while that's true, I agree with that. It does come out of the collective's ass. That's 100% facts.
Yes.
At the same time, while that is the case, Kirby still looks bad, which is why I'm surprised.
Yeah, it's his player.
Right. So that's why I'm surprised that Kirby and other dudes are taking this path, because it's like, hey, that might be true. Like the collective is funding them and paying them and essentially creating this problem that 20 years ago kids didn't have to deal with, frankly. But ultimately, it's still your player. You still have to take responsibility and figure this out. And that's what's hard.
I think it's the easy button in college sports. Because the truth is, when the kid is making more than the coach, what power does the coach really have? Look at this Deion Sanders thing.
Man.
This is your guy, right? This is your dude.
I like Deion a lot, bro. But we'll play the clip first. Yeah, I think that the issue with Deion is that Deion hasn't won enough to justify the behavior. So we're going to play clips here in a minute from this press conference. And, we've seen this behavior before out of other head coaches, political figures. This is not the first time we've seen somebody sitting at the podium, doing media availability and not really wanting to hear from, people asking questions. But the thing with Deion
this is a little, do you think
different.
That's what this was?
Well, I think it's right up that alley. I think that let's play the clip first, because once you see the clip, if you live under a rock and you haven't seen it, this is Deion Sanders being a complete pain in the ass in the press conference.
Next guy. Eric Christensen with CBS Sports Colorado.
CBS, Tyler, I'm not doing nothing with CBS. Next question.
Joe Rigo, Miles.
Ain't got nothing to do with you. It's above that. Ain't got nothing to do with you. I got love for you. I appreciate, respect you. Ain't got nothing to do with you. They know what they did.
I'm here in Denver, not national.
You are who you are. CBS is CBS.
All right.
Joe, I got nothing to do with you. I respect you. That's why I told you that. I'm looking you in the eye as a man. I respect you. I got love for you. But what they did was foul.
CBS National ranked Deion Sanders maybe last or one of the last.
Second to worst in the
second
conference.
to worst coach in the conference. So he did that. So how did the local TV station react? Deion had a press conference where not only did he go after CBS, not only did he refuse to have a conversation about his offensive line, he was asked if he had bolstered his offensive line, and he lost his shit over it. And he lost his mind over the word bolster. It was that press conference. And I don't know what happened over the last week and a half in Boulder, because Deion was, in my opinion, one of the stars of Big 12 Media Day.
Yeah.
I thought he handled it exceptionally well. And then you just fall apart to the point where the local media in Boulder and Denver now are off the train.
Hi, everybody. I'm Scotty Gange. Deion Sanders welcomed everybody back to football season today with a wild press conference. So let's talk about it.
When I talk about that, we talk about that, we can talk about that.
He called out some local sports writers today.
Why do you always on attack? Like, what did we do? Where am I? What?
And the head coach of the Colorado Buffs also had no time for TV stations either.
CBS Sports Colorado.
CBS,
Tyler,
I'm not doing nothing with CBS. Next question.
I'm here in Denver, not national.
You are who you are. CBS is CBS.
Okay, I get it. It's one thing, right? When you have an issue with a person or an outlet like he obviously does, like how CBS recently ranked Sanders as the second worst coach in the Big 12. So what? But he proceeded to bully people, asking honest questions all afternoon.
You've bolstered your offensive line here in this second season.
What does bolstered mean?
All right, you beefed up your offensive line in this offseason.
Beefed up.
How do you sort of microwave
Improved?
that chemistry?
Improved. How about improved? Let's say that. We've improved our offensive line.
The chemistry is such an important thing.
What is chemistry?
Deion has brought CU national attention. He served as an inspiring voice for many. But he's coming off just like he's trying to intimidate and push around anybody who dares to ask him a question. Now, that's not how a sports person of the year or anybody should be acting.
Throw the word chemistry out or not. Everybody keep throwing that word out. Some of you don't even have chemistry at home, but you go there every day. That's the end of that question, I guess.
What are you doing?
Causing trouble. That's what you're doing.
I don't. There were always going to be growing pains with Prime at Colorado. He was always an awkward fit. I totally get that. This is something different. I don't know what's going on with him, but arguing over beefed up or improved and the importance of chemistry on an offensive line
is paramount.
Ask BYU last year.
Yeah.
You cannot. What are you doing, Deion?
Yeah, I mean,
what are you doing, dude?
Listen, the problem is that when Deion first arrived on the scene in Boulder, he was everyone's All-American. You remember, he sold the building out for the entire season, for all their home games. Like, everything was incredible. They get off to this hot start with the TCU win, the Nebraska game, and then obviously they fall on their face to end the season. And so they got a lot of hate. And I feel like, unfortunately, none of us were really surprised that they had a losing season as far as their record is concerned. But just the way it went, I felt like they ended on kind of a sour note. And then you have this situation where, you've got Big 12 Media Days. I agree. They absolutely nailed it. Shador nailed it. Deion nailed it. Like, everything was great. And yeah, I don't know what happened, but the guy is taking out his personal issues on the media, and that never ends well. Like, I firmly believe Deion Sanders makes a choice every day of how he's going to handle the media. Like, this is not someone who just rolls up into the press conference completely unprepared and just kind of does something random. He's choosing to be a pain in the ass.
An agenda.
Yeah.
He had an agenda. And for somebody that, he needs the media. That's the thing that was so surprising about it.
Well, and I don't think, the other thing that Deion does, which was fine till this press conference happened. He was always the guy that said, hey, like, confident, like he said something to the effect of like, confident black man sitting up here is always going to have an issue with the media. They're always going to be talking about me and yada. And it's like, yeah, they're always going to be talking about you for sure. But if you're going to sit up here and basically give the local CBS reporter the bird and mock him and then fight this other guy, like I just don't know what Deion thought he was going to get out of this.
Yeah.
And you're right. These guys are going to be here all season long, and it's either going to get worse or Deion's going to fix it. And I would be surprised if he didn't smooth that out a little bit. That would be.
I am guessing, having been in these situations, this is not my first rodeo. Having seen coaches go after media members like this, I am guessing they've already talked offline, Deion and this reporter, because he straight up said, I've got love for you. I just think this is an odd way to start your season in what is arguably the most important season of his college football coaching career.
Yeah.
Because you got to go to a bowl game this year. And it's going to be very difficult because the Nebraska game's in Lincoln, not in Boulder. And I think there are no more surprises. They're better. There's no doubt they're better. And the sad thing is, Deion's actually a really good coach. He's a good football coach. Hired an excellent staff.
Yeah.
Recruits at a very high level. And I think that this is going to make his job more difficult. It's as simple as that. Oak State James, this guy's an egomaniac. He's not the savior of Colorado football. I would call him the savior of Colorado football. He put Colorado football back on the map. Nobody gave a rat's ass about Colorado football before he got there.
Yeah.
The president of Colorado needs to discipline him. You represent CU, be a man and answer the question.
Okay, so hold on. Let me just point out the obvious that you've absolutely lined up on a tee for me to serve you with. How are you saying this about Deion Sanders, but you didn't say it about Mike Gundy? How does that work? Mike Gundy's out here talking about being first team all DUI.
Does Mike Gundy treat the media better than Deion does?
Like, are you kidding me?
Isn't Mike Gundy known for melting down on the media? Isn't that where he made his name?
Get your facts straight.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
I'm a man. And kick a person when he's down.
Anyway, I disagree with you. Maybe you're right. Maybe you should be fired. You know.
I just think that's that we can't have. You can't be, hey, well, Mike just misspoke. And there was no issue. You know, he didn't mean what he said. He was just, it was all tongue in cheek. And then the first time you see Deion, you want to just roast the guy.
It's a little thing, The media builds up people, then tears them down at will. Well, that's not what this was. That's not what this was.
No.
Deion attacked the media. This was his agenda. I mean, how else can you say that he had something else planned? He went after everybody. He went after. He refused to talk to CBS. He refused to engage in a conversation about his offensive line.
Make it adversarial rather than just answering the questions.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know. Legend as a player, loser as a coach. How's he been a loser? Is there? Don't conflate the two. Deion Sanders has won everywhere he's coached, including Colorado. Last year was an unquestioned success. Without a doubt. Unquestioned success. And when they go to a bowl game this year, and I think they will, you're going to see that he's not a bad football coach.
No.
He's a really good football coach.
Huge personality, though.
But I think he's learning that the spotlight's not always good. And I think sometimes Colorado needs Deion Sanders to just be invisible for 6 weeks. Go on vacation, man. Like, go take some time off. Because now the spotlight's only going to get brighter. That's it. Mike Gundy defended his backup QB when they went after him. Well, isn't Deion Sanders defending his team? I don't see any difference between the two. And clearly, if you've watched a show, I am not a Mike Gundy fan. I think Mike's one of the great frauds of college football. And I think Deion has to prove he's not one of the great frauds of college football.
Yeah.
Because if you want to say that Deion hasn't won to the level of his persona, okay, absolutely right. But to say that he is not a winner as a coach, that's not correct. That's not correct, in my opinion. Severe, Colorado throwing darts on and off the field. Ain't that the truth? I think it's really interesting, in my opinion, that he's put himself in Shedeur and Shedeur particularly, but both of his kids at Colorado have said too much. Like, it is this us versus the world mentality. I understand why a lot of competitive people like to live in that world. I truly do. It puts you on an edge. But I think guys like Shiloh and Shedeur have to learn to, you got to rein that in.
Time and place, bro.
Stop talking, start playing. And that's where we're at. That's where we're at. So, anyway, Coconut Dreams, fair enough. But the bottom line is Colorado was 4-8 in 2023.
Right, which is a huge improvement off of their embarrassing, 5-year run or however long it had been.
5 years.
10 years.
When's the last time Colorado was relevant? And he won games.
That I would add, he wasn't supposed to win according to most people.
We'll see. James, you just nailed it. Deion has not won to the level of his persona. That's why you're the man. Monty Nation, hit the like button.
Yeah, but you still have to explain this double standard for Mike and Deion. Going to Slurp Town on my boy here isn't going to fix the double standard that's at play here.
Going to Slurp
Town. I'm serious. When the Mike Gundy thing happened, you defended him and said, "Hey, he was just joking around. It's no big deal. No big deal." Even though people die every day from DUI, no big deal. But then when Deion goes after the media about something unrelated to people dying, unrelated to anybody getting injured, just being a complete red ass in his press availability, you want his athletic director to discipline him? Come on, dude.
I don't know. I just think it's one of those things where Deion Sanders, he's all right. You either love Prime or you hate Prime. There's nothing in the middle.
Agreed. And he does that to himself.
And in these moments, you hate Prime. You hate him. And the problem for people who hate Deion Sanders is, in college football, a lot of days, your talent on the field wins you games. He's got an awful lot of talent. He's got one of the best quarterbacks in the conference already. And he's got an offensive line and offensive weapons now to match the quarterback. If Shedeur plays, if he plays every snap offensively, they're going to win 7-8 games because he's good enough to do that. And when you have guys like Travis Hunter and you have those, I think they're exceptionally well coached. His assistant coaches are, I'm telling you.
They're going to be better this year than they were last year. I don't have any doubt about that. Now, I agree with, a couple of the folks who are like, hey, they were 4-8. Like, yeah, you need to improve on that. And yeah, I would agree the bowl game is the minimum bar here. Like bowl game or you had a crap season. But I think their top end is 8. I think they could surprise some people. Now, is that likely to happen? No, I wouldn't say it's likely to happen. No, I don't think it's likely to happen, but I think it's possible. And I think the one thing we all know about college football is gnarly things, crazy things happen on a weekly basis. So you're looking at their schedule and you're like, yeah, it's possible, but it's probably not going to happen.
North Dakota State at Nebraska at Colorado State. There's a chance they're 1-3. Because they've got 3-0. They could be 3-0, but because the Baylor game now, and again,
8 ball
in Baylor. He starts a North Dakota State, at Nebraska, at Colorado State. If they protect Shedeur, they're better than Colorado State. Baylor, at UCF, K-State, at Arizona, Cincinnati, at Texas Tech, Utah, at Kansas, Oklahoma State.
So I think their season will be decided by the middle.
The Cincinnati game.
No, I think UCF, K-State, and Arizona, if you can just win one of those games.
If you are not bowl eligible by Halloween, you're not going to a bowl game. I think it's as simple. You're at Texas Tech. Again, I'm trusting you, Joey.
Yeah.
At Texas Tech, Utah, at Kansas, Oklahoma State. Good luck. Now, Oklahoma State is that team that generally is going to lose games they should win.
Is Oklahoma State contending for the conference at that point? Are they out of it?
And I happen to think that Kansas is conference championship good.
Yeah.
They've got K-State and Kansas and Utah and Oak State.
Yeah.
And I would remind you that at least those 3 of those 4 games, K-State, Utah, and Oak State are at home.
Yeah.
In Boulder, which is a huge home field advantage. So
I'm just saying, I agree with what you're saying. I think bowl game or bust this year, certainly. You got to have 6 wins, 100%.
Yes.
But I do think, and again, all the haters, we can disagree. But I'm telling you, if you're sitting here saying that this is going to be like a 3-win team, I promise you they are not a 3-win team. I promise you this team is at least 5 wins good this year. And my suspicion is they will rise to 7. Yeah, 7 feels like
North Dakota State, at Colorado State. I think they're going to go to Lincoln and get run off. I think that Matt Rule is looking for. Dude, he wants to collect testicles this year. I think he's out for people's nuts.
But
dude.
again,
I'm serious.
We got to be fair, though. We have to be fair because I'm not here for double standards when it comes to Deion. Matt Rule needs to show us he can win on the football field in that program. I have no doubt that Matt Rule is a great head coach. He's shown us that he's got that ability, and he's building 100%. But if we're going to say Deion's got to show us, then we certainly have to say Matt Rule has to show us.
Yeah, I think it'll be very interesting. Just looking at their... you did lose Trev Alberts. But he did... Yeah, Glenn Thomas is a nice get for Matt Rule. Just looking at... yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be... Lincoln's going to be a tough place to play this year.
I would agree with that.
I think it's going to be a tough pace to play.
I would expect them to be able to run the football.
Just real quick on Colorado. Yeah. North Dakota State 1. I think Colorado State 2, Baylor 3. Do they go to the bounce house and win?
No. They'll lose that game.
K-State at Boulder.
Well,
that's a loss. At Arizona's a win. Cincinnati's a win for 5.
See, I don't think the Arizona game's a gimme. That's the problem.
His defense is, I think Colorado's defense is going to be very good.
Okay, so if you give him Arizona.
North Dakota State, Colorado State, Baylor, Arizona, Cincinnati.
So you got to have the Nebraska game. That's what I'm saying. You have to beat Nebraska. And then you have to win one of the 3 of...
K-State, Utah, or Oak State.
Yeah, you got to win one of those 3. And obviously...
You're not going to Kansas City and beating Kansas.
Yeah.
I can't.
And you're not beating
that.
Utah, and I don't think you're beating Oklahoma State.
Now, Colorado-Utah is historically a rivalry game, and I think this year it's a massive game.
Yeah, the problem is I think that Utah is top 5 in the country good, and they're being hated on right now. That's how good I think Utah is going to be this year. I think you're talking about a Utah team that knows it's the last ride, knows that they got to get it done, and, they're just going to be difficult.
I think it is.
But like I said,
I think 6 is likely, 7's possible, 8 is not possible. Wins for Colorado. What do I think's going to happen? I think they win 6 games and go to a bowl. because last year the offensive line and the defensive line crushed them, and they're both exponentially better. They've got 7 offensive linemen, and he's if depending on you believe the hype, scopes, previews, you look at the talent level on the defensive line, he's probably gotten 8. He's probably got 8 defensive linemen. And their secondary is 6 is likely, 7's possible, 8's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Unless
you get lucky with the other team having injuries.
Kansas, if he goes to the bounce house and somehow wins, if my mom was my father, she'd be a man, but she's not. I mean, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Hour number 2 of the Monty Show, as always, presented by our friends at Prize Picks, prizepicks.com. The best daily fantasy in the business. You guys use the promo code Monty. We happen to be very fortunate that they put us in that special group of promo codes. They're doing a deal now where you deposit $5 in a new account at Prize Picks, they'll give you $50. You can play with $55 at Prize Picks for months and months and months. I'm on a heater right now, back to my winning ways, thanks to LeBron James and Stephen Curry. If you're working the Olympics, and I understand, listen, I know that diving is not a mainstream sport, but do you really not just call him Steph Curry? The guy's like Stephen Curry.
Steph Wardell Curry, man.
Stephen Curry? First of all, it's Stephen Curry, and really it's Steph Curry, and really it's Chef Curry. Man, did you guys see Michael Gundy?
Michael.
And the Oklahoma State Cowboys? Like, what are you...
How do you mess that up,
The
dude?
diving guy said Stephen Curry. Anyway, thanks to Steph and La Captain America. Why
do you guys keep messing up his name, dude? Come on.
I won some bread over the weekend on Prize Picks. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was Noah Lyles. Screw you. You ruined my Prize Picks legacy. Because I would have won 4 straight 3-for-3s. I'd have won if Noah Lyles hadn't run like 37 seconds in the 200 meters.
So I said, yeah.
I have COVID. Who doesn't?
Yeah, come on.
COVID's not real, Monty. Anyway, the point is...
The coronavirus.
The point is, use the promo code Monty. Download the Prize Picks app. Use the promo code Monty. When you open up a new account at Prize Picks, you get $5. You deposit $5, they'll give you 50 more. Prize Picks, the official daily fantasy partner of the Monty program. Oh, look at that. Tanner Plummer has decided to watch the show again.
Wow, bro.
Now, I don't know if that's
show up.
If that's because, you probably heard that Donovan McNabb sucked as a quarterback and Terrell Owens is the only reason they were in that Super Bowl. While Vomit Face was, doing his thing. It's all I have. Tanner is a man amongst women and a fine human being.
I get that.
He's been a member of the program for 19 months.
Wow. Man. Hell of an intro. Hell of an intro, man. Hey, Tanner, bro, do you want to fire, Nicholas Sirianni, or what are we doing?
Nikolai Sirianni.
Yeah, Nikolai.
Siriannis.
Yeah.
Siriannis. You know what I'm saying?
Whoever came up with that shit need to be fired.
Hugh Janus.
Yeah.
Siriannis.
Come on, dude. What
How
are we
about
doing?
the Eagles story? And Tanner Plumer is a huge Eagles fan. Listen,
Marty,
you do whatever drugs you need to do to get you through. How about the story that
It's a hell of a drug.
Jalen Hurts just straight up was like, nah, I'm not running that play. Why don't you just go deep? I know we need 7 yards for a first down, Why don't you go deep and let's try to win the game right here?
He's standing in the huddle. The play comes in. He's like, nah, it's a trash call. You know what, AJ, just go out wide, run down the field, and I'll throw it to you. It's fine.
Wait a minute. Proper football play calling? No. Who do you think you are, Brian Johnson? Go back to Utah, Dick. I'm going deep. That ball got intercepted and the season ended.
Oh.
And so let me get this right. Your new multi-$100 million quarterback is ignoring the coaching staff, and you still didn't fire Nick Siri sucks. Like, I don't.
Excellent strategy, sir.
I don't own the team. I do a little potty here.
So from us Bears fans to you Eagle fans, thank you. Thank you for keeping your garbage head coach.
Now listen, you want to talk about a real quarterback. Emperor McNabb never threw up in the Super Bowl. There's no evidence of that.
Oh my God, bro. There's no evidence of. Go on YouTube, dude.
Okay.
What?
Okay. Listen. Coconut Dreams, Noah Lyles and the men's 4x100 team. Either one of those two winning gives us a win over China in the 2 gold medals. Well, admittedly, I just host this little show here on YouTube. If you're running in a relay, shouldn't you know how to hand the baton off? I get it. You intermingle your funds in different dudes in the okay. But shouldn't you know how to do a baton handoff?
And why is it?
It's crazy to me in the what was that, the 4x2?
Yeah.
Where they absolutely crap them. So the men's 4x2 absolutely crap themselves.
But this whole baton handoff thing for the men has been going on for like a decade. Like
the men's 4x relays have been tragically bad.
Yeah.
Now the Sha'Carri Richards with that look over, dude.
Gangster.
Dude, I
stay hard.
I gotta tell you. That was amazing. The Olympics were awesome.
Yeah.
The Olympics were awesome. If I could change coaches at Oak State, I would get Todd Monken.
What? Whoa. Why do you want to change?
Brandon Whedon's busy that day. He was the OC in 2011, and that offense was amazing. Gundy should have brought back Dana Holgerson and made him the OC. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
P.S. More ass kissing. I like Miami bucked up, but the red, white, and blue bucked up logo on the rocket pop is awesome. It is. Bucked up. Use the promo code Monty. Telling you. Use it. Get it done. Let's talk NFL quarterbacks. Who was the best NFL rookie QB this weekend?
There's only one. There's only one.
I think head and shoulders. I don't want to say it out loud.
Do you feel like it'll jinx the whole season?
Who was the second best rookie NFL quarterback this weekend in the NFL? I want to say it was Big Penix Energy. Because, and I know you guys are going to be like, oh, JJ McCarthy.
Y'all feel me?
If I had that much time in the pocket against the Raiders' 5th team free agent rookie undrafted defense, I probably could have completed the same amount of passes.
Because it's garbage.
I need to see JJ against number 1. He looked really good. He can only play the opponents in front of you. He threw touchdowns to guys that were open by a dozen yards. I look at Big Penix Energy in Atlanta, really impressed. Bo Nix in Denver, really impressed. I think there is a lot of Michael Penix makes it look very easy. Yeah. And he is going to, when he learns, and we're seeing this with Caleb Williams in Chicago. When you play the Hall of Fame game, it's the first preseason game of the year every year, right? Like you get in, I think it's 6 more practice or 6 more coaching sessions, 4 on-field practices, 2 more film studies. Look how much further ahead Caleb Williams is than everybody else, knowledge-wise.
Yeah.
And we're seeing it in practical application. He's just been on the field more. So you look at a guy like Big Penix Energy, I think by the time the season gets here, they're going to have a full-on flame-throwing quarterback controversy.
Yeah.
I don't know what you do. How do you not start Bo Nix if you're Denver? He looked really capable. And it's because when he played 60-something college games, he's ready.
Yep.
Right? He's ready.
Yeah, Bo Nix is a case of, hey, just need to get comfortable with the offensive concepts overall, and he's going to be good, I think. I think that he's, I look at the quarterback play over the weekend. I think all the guys you just talked about looked way better than Mac Jones, let's say. Looked way better than these.
Mac Jones also had a defensive coordinator as an offensive coordinator. So,
yeah, but I think that there's still something to like we as commentators and spectators of the sport have the ability to say, okay, this guy clearly is working with garbage play calling. And if the play calling was better, he'd be in a better spot. Like, we have the ability to say that. And I don't know. I didn't really feel that way about Mac. I feel like he's just kind of a guy. He's not somebody who you're like, yeah, wow, we can really do something with this guy.
Yeah, and I think Trey Lance is in a very tough spot now because the stupidity that you see from Trey Lance, and this is what he did in San Francisco, and it made people crazy. You come out, man, look at that throw. God, dog, look at that throw. What do you mean how did he take a sack there? What? It's exactly who this dude is.
Yeah.
And you're seeing the delay in mental processing that just is going to plague him for his career. And why is that? Because he played like 12 snaps in college in a very small program. And I say in jest, but it's not like he was the starting quarterback at or at Notre Dame or at a major program. And you're seeing a guy who has no idea what the defense is trying to do to him. And you're seeing a guy who, like, you look at Michael Penix fully digesting the defensive shift. You look at no, I'm not saying his name because we just need to get the yellow jacket on the guy in Chicago, and then we can talk about it. But my point is, you look at JJ McCarthy against, and I'm not even trying to knock JJ, who I think is going to be a very good backup quarterback in the NFL. He's playing against third string guys, and quite literally 4 Raiders are undrafted free agent starters on their defense this past weekend. Should he perform in that? Yeah, he should. Should he hit wide open receivers running go routes? He should. Absolutely should. You look at Michael Penix. He's having receivers running the wrong route depth. So he's not able to get the ball there on time because the guy didn't run 20 yards. He ran 15. So he cut to the sideline, and Penix was expecting him to keep going. It's Atlanta. He's on a bad team, right? So I look at somebody like Bo Nix. Bo Nix has a lot of new talent around him. Bo Nix is performing. Michael Penix is performing in those windows. Trey is not performing. He's not performing. And some of the other guys, like, one of the things I'm very curious about, how much did you guys see Drake May and his 2 of 3 for 19 yards?
It's my quarterback.
I'm a little worried New England is protecting him. It's early in the preseason. You gave him 2 of 3 for 19 yards? Am I the only one who thinks that you're crazy?
Yeah, it's a little light for sure.
And I understand you want to protect guys, right? But I also look at the Jaden Daniels, 2 of 3 for 45 yards. You got to play these guys. So again, I go back to the Chicago Bears, and I look at Caleb Williams, 4 of 7, 95 yards, and 3 spectacular completions. 2 drops that hit Cole Kmet.
Cole.
I like Cole Kmet a lot. I think he's a really good tight end. Stop throwing out first pitches at Wrigley Field and start catching the football. Like, that was really frustrating.
I think the thing with the Bears is they're in a great spot. I think that we need to give them credit even before this game over the weekend and what we saw to Williams. Like, you look at what they've done this offseason, and I was not a fan admittedly, and I know you weren't either when we were talking about in the offseason of bringing Ebersucks back. Not a fan of that. And watching Hard Knocks, I still feel like he's not a great fit in the organization. Still feel like he's a try-hard guy that struggles to fit in and struggles to be in the cool kids club. Like he's just that different kind of personality. But ultimately, what did they do? They went out and got a way better offensive coordinator that's clearly working with Caleb. And they're clearly on the same page. And for that, I give the Bears a lot of credit, because what did we suffer through all last season? A guy in Justin Fields who clearly has loads of talent, but you didn't know how to use them because your offensive coordinator was garbage. And that was frustrating.
Garbo.
And so the organization said, hey, might be a good idea to get an offensive-minded offensive coordinator to play call and develop Caleb Williams. And now you're starting to see it.
I think when you look at the job that Ryan Poles, the what do I even call Ryan Poles? The Messiah, the deity of Chicago. The job that Ryan Poles has done assembling talent. DJ Moore signed a massive extension. If you're not watching Hard Knocks, you guys are stupid.
And the way they handled that, I thought was brilliant.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
And obviously they sat DJ Moore out of this preseason game. Oh, wait, they didn't. They played in meaningful reps. You're seeing that because you have this rookie quarterback that's got to be, he's your number one. He's your starting quarterback. There's no Jared Stidham. There's no Kirk Cousins. There's nobody. This is your dude. And so you've got to build that and develop that. They're taking him out to dinner. They're spending time with him. They're doing everything you're supposed to do to develop a quarterback. And I don't think I've ever said that about the Chicago Bears. I don't think we've ever had in Chicago. I don't think we've ever had this.
So after watching that game, what do you think of this? What this season could be?
I don't want to talk about it. I'm not talking about the season. We won a football game. We played well. That's all we have to do. And at some point, if we continue to do that, maybe I will put the flag back outside.
Having fun is the name of the game.
But until we do that, I'm not saying it. Oh my. Who are you, Jerry Reidensdorf? I'm not saying it. It brings me so much joy in my heart that the White Sox are terrible.
Dude, do you understand how bad you have to be 60 games under 500?
You lost 21 straight games.
What?
Then you won a game. Let me get this right. Now I'm Marty over here hosting.
Marty.
I'm just hosting the Morty show.
Right.
It's what I do. I don't own baseball teams. I'm not a general manager. So let me get this right. You lose 21 straight, you win a game, then you fire the manager after he finally won a fucking game. Then you fired him.
And pardon me.
I don't have to carry the two to understand. You don't fire the guy after they won a game.
The unbelievers.
Fire him after they lost the 21st game in a row. You haven't won in 3 weeks, dick. Fire him then. He won a game and then you fired him. Oh, man. Bro, bring it in here. Let's dap it up. Yup. All right, cool. Get the fuck out. What? We finally won a game. Can I finish my old style? What?
Let's wind the clocks back a year.
Crazy.
Hey, thank them. Thank them. Appreciate you.
It's amazing to me. It's amazing.
Give me another L, bro.
Brandon Butler, hello. Reinsdorf didn't want to give up the worst owner in sports title belt, right?
Well,
strap it on, dude. And weld it around your waist. God.
You got to get stroked.
Dog. And I don't even want to talk about my Chicago Bulls.
What, Zach LaVine's not getting it done for you?
I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm going to do the asshole thing right now. I heard the worst story about what's going on inside the Chicago Bulls. I can't even, like, at least with the Utah Jazz, okay, 2 and 2 equals Ryan Smith isn't a billionaire in his bank account and he's got a lot of money to spend. Okay, they're not going to spend money. People are like, hey, Marty, you got it wrong with Larry Markkinen. Laurie, his name's Lowry. You got it wrong with Lowry Markkinen. They actually spent money. Don't know how to break it to you, friend. They had to spend that money. Do you guys understand that they were below the minimum threshold of salary, the Utah Jazz? Funny, you extend Lowry Markkinen, and all of a sudden you're exactly at the minimum number you got to spend. I can't believe how much money he went out and spent. Right up to the exact minimum. I believe it is to the millipenny. Like the exact floor minimum for salary. The Utah Jazz are there. That's what I've always aspired to.
Marty, they spent the money, dude.
Who are
Wow.
you? Who are you? The bare minimum? Millennial stuff? Good job. I should probably stop. Tanner Plummer. Caleb Williams has made the Bears relevant for the first time since Okay. Willie Wilson. They let him go on a high note.
So see what he did there? It's like take note and high note, and it kind of all works together.
Amazing. San Diego State Glenn. Ryan Poles drinks his calories, Monty. He needs a contract with Coke. Bro, you're not even kidding. You are not even kidding.
Also, can we talk about the transformation that Ebersucks went through with the wife in the beard? This dude put a beard on and all of a sudden everything has worked out in life for him. Anybody notice that Hard Knocks took the time to tell that story in the first episode of the season?
Matt Eberflus. I don't know any other words to describe how boring this guy is, but it's cool that you now like go to a barber and get your beard trimmed and stuff. You suck as a head coach. You're not good as a head coach. Coordinate the defense. Coordinate the defense. I know what the rest of the comments said.
It's a defense.
I don't read the whole comment. It's what I'm known for on this show.
It's a reputation. He's got to live up to it, you know? It's a thing.
Anyway. Yeah. No. I'm not playing your stupid game, Tanner. I'm not. What's your middle name so I have something else I can call you when I'm... it's the preseason. Let's see how the rookies do when the games are against frontline talent. Yes. This is what I said about
see, that's the thing with
McCarthy
Caleb,
and that's the point about Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
He went to Bruno Mali heaven and beat the hell out of the Bills, and they're number ones on defense. But he's only playing this well, and I pick your quarterback. I do think J.J. McCarthy and Michael Penix are the best examples of this. He's playing better than those two guys because he's had more practices and more reps. And now you need to see, like J.J. McCarthy, it's great that you can hit open receivers when you have no pressure. Let's see you against number ones. Let's see Michael Penix when his receivers now have gone through a week of game tape and understand, hey, you cut that route off at 15. I thought you were going to 20. So he had a receiver that when he stopped at 15 yards, he broke the route off on a route that called for 20-yard out. So Penix hadn't let the ball go, and the guy is standing on the sideline. So the ball was late. And the idiots anyway, people who don't know football don't understand that. So it just is what it is. Severe, Jazz spent money. They paid a guy on the Celtics, but I literally said, who the F is that guy? Yeah, we rolling.
Well, what you're doing is big game hunting.
Who the fuck is that guy?
But Bo Nix is playing well.
Dude, I still haven't heard your double standard response.
He did mea culpa. I just skipped it.
Bo Dix is playing well.
James called for his own drop.
And by the way, I'd like to point out when you called for your own drop, you actually said Bo Dix is playing well, not Bo Nix. I just want to point that out.
You know,
Bo Dix is playing well.
you did say Bo's dick is playing well.
Bo Dix is.
He also said you look cute with your new haircut. Did you get a haircut? You did get a haircut.
I did get a haircut, yeah. Yeah.
So he says you look good in your new haircut.
Well, thanks, James. It's really heartwarming, bro. I appreciate you.
That's amazing.
Man.
That's amazing. All right. Before we rip Jerry Jones, we remind you that Canyons Golf is the official golf club of the Monty Show. Actually played some really good golf this weekend. Canyons is pretty challenging. It's pretty challenging. And it is one of those courses where it's really rewarding when you hit the ball well. And I did not hit the ball well on Saturday. I played one of the worst rounds of golf I've played this year. I think I shot an 88 or something like that. I shot an 88, then shot a 79 yesterday at Old Mill. And you go in this, I bring this up because you play Canyons and then the next day you play a course like Old Mill and you're like, why am I not at Canyons right now? That's how good Canyons golf is. And the thing I really enjoy about Canyons is like the fairways are lush. The greens, while challenging, are really, I actually putted very well. I played 3 rounds of golf this weekend, putted really, really well, surprisingly. But I think it just shows you when you go and play other courses. Canyons is lush. You miss how green and soft the fairways are. You miss the fact that when you drive the ball well at Canyons, it's majestic and the ball flies, and you miss how, while challenging, how receptive the greens at Canyons are to approach shots. You miss how well manicured the rough at Canyons is because you play in rough at Old Mill yesterday that had a bunch of grass clippings in it.
It's the worst.
You go to Canyons and you're standing on really lush fairways. You go and play a course like Old Mill and you can't get good footing and the ball's constantly below your feet. It makes you crazy. And you ask yourself, why am I not playing at Canyons? Resort style golf, affordable greens fees. Like, it's remarkable to me that you're paying public course prices at Canyons Golf to play resort style golf at a beautiful resort like Park City Mountain Resort, on a beautiful course that is luxurious, that is beautiful, the views, the vistas, the drive off of 6, 17, 18. It's amazing. You hit your drives on those holes and they just fly. What we affectionately call the 7-11 hole.
Yeah.
12, I think it is. Right? Like, it's
the bomb.
To me, or 11 it is. It's a bomb. It's amazing. The water hole on 12, which is a par 3, and you got to hit over this big lake, and it's amazing. It's so beautiful to play golf at Canyons, and you take it for granted until you go play somewhere else and you realize how good the course is, what high level of service you get at Canyons, where they carry your bags to your cart, where you get GPS on the cart. Yesterday, I recognized there's no GPS on the cart. And so you miss how precise the GPS is on the cart at Canyons. Like, it's just a really good golf experience. Hook it up. Let's go play this weekend at Canyons Golf. I've got 2 rounds of golf scheduled Saturday and Sunday at Canyons. Love playing, love seeing you guys. Thanks for all the shout outs up at Canyons Golf. It was amazing. Brandon Butler says Old Mill is a ball stealing course. I actually, you know what the problem at Old Mill is that I was actually 2 over on the back at one point. And there's this, it might be 16, I think it is, where you have a 300-yard drive up this hill to a hard dogleg right. I hit a bullet 300 on the dot. Stopped exactly. Mrs. Monty steps up, hits a bullet within like 3 feet of where my ball is. Amazing. And then there's a long forward shot. And I hit a perfect fade with my forward. I just didn't know that there was nothing to the right. It looked like the green was huge. So I took a penalty there, wound up bogeying that hole, a 5 on a par 4. Like,
yeah,
that's a little frustrating. But that's just being naive about that course. And I will say that the best courses generally will penalize you if you hit a bad shot.
Yeah.
There's no question. I've played.
But I think the best courses in that same way will reward you for a good shot. You know,
I would agree.
You know.
I hit a lot of, I will say about Old Mill, the greens were not in great shape. And the greens, Canyon's greens are undulated. They're different levels. They have a lot of, depending on where you land on the green, there's a lot of break. And at Old Mill, they're undulated as well. But you cannot read the greens there because they're so dried out. And every green is like there's some brown patches. And
yeah,
it's when you hit a good iron shot at Canyons, the greens are receptive. When you hit a good wedge shot at Canyons, the greens are receptive. When you play Muni courses, they're not receptive because they don't manicure their greens the way they do at Canyons.
Yeah.
They don't. The rough at Canyons, the first cut of rough is really receptive. There's some deep rough at Canyons. I mean, 15, certainly on 17, the drive on 17. If you miss the fairway at Canyons, you can be in some second cut of rough. But that's what good golf courses have.
Yeah.
So you get spoiled by the grounds crew at Canyons. The maintenance crew at Canyons keeps those greens in the rough really well manicured. So you get spoiled when you go play somewhere else. So, you know.
Yeah.
San Diego State Glen Canyons. Lush, I thought this was a family show. Exactly right. Exactly right. That's exactly right. 2 over after 11. Just kidding. No, actually I played. It's more difficult when you play a course for the first time. I don't generally. I'm contemplating if I should say this out loud. Very much like people will tell you that Salt Lake City is a great food town. That's a lie. It's not. Oh, Salt Lake City is a great golf town. That's a lie. It's not. There are like especially the courses in the Salt Lake golf system. No, I don't think South Mountain. No, I played that once.
Never going back
in my life.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would readily be like, oh yeah, I cannot wait. I cannot wait to play Old Mill. I doubt it. Like I'm really excited now. I haven't played Canyons since Saturday. Now I'm ready to go back and play again. Like I'm excited.
I still haven't seen a course outside of Canyons that we've played that was better than what was that? Wasatch, I think.
Oh, I definitely Wasatch up in Heber. Wasatch is amazing. Yeah, I love that course.
That's a good course.
I actually like the other Soldier Hollow.
Soldier Hollow is good. You know what's interesting about Soldier Hollow too, because they have 2 courses. You can have 2 different experiences depending on which.
I like the
play.
Links course at Soldier Hollow.
Yeah,
I think it's a silver course.
Yeah,
I like the silver course. I actually shot 2 over on that course. Before I went to Hawaii.
The thing too with that whole whether golf is great in Salt Lake or not, there are a couple of courses that are really good that you could play
Stonebridge
multiple times a week and be thrilled with. The thing with Salt Lake that people forget is you're playing at 4,000 feet above sea level. The ball flies. So it's a lot of fun because if you're someone who's driving at 270 at sea level, you're probably going to be 310 at 4,000 feet. And that is what's fun about playing it in Salt Lake.
Real quick, one story. My wife just texted me to remind me. We booked a Thanksgiving week trip to Florida. We were staying at the PGA Resort in Port St. Lucie. So you would think that you could get get on. You could play rounds of golf because you're staying at the resort, right? No. Do you know when you're able to book your golf as a guest at the PGA Resort in Port St. Lucie? 2 days. You have a 2-day booking window. Did I mention that PGA Tour professionals get first dibs? Okay, totally get that. It's a PGA resort. Members get first dibs. Okay, they're members. And it's packed that week. You will not. The lady said, you're not going to like what we have to say, and good luck getting on here. What's the point of staying at a PGA resort if you can't play the courses?
Yeah, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
So we had to yesterday frantically cancel our Thanksgiving trip to Florida. Now we're going back to Maui. I know. Life is rough. Going back to Maui and playing, I am so stoked. 3 of the best golf courses in the world. I am so Kapalua. I am the Bay course, the Plantation course, and then playing just playing the same course where the Century is played at Kapalua.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot wait. I think it's 17, that long downhill at 17, where your second shot's a 5-iron into that green. Cannot wait. Cannot wait to play Kapalua. And then playing Wailea. Super. I think, is that it? Grand Wailea. Yeah. Playing the Wailea. I'm so excited about that.
Well, there's Kaanapali too. You might make Kaanapali as well.
Definitely playing Kaanapali. Yeah.
Which was a lot of fun.
I am so excited about that.
Yeah. See, golf in any type of tropical island environment like Hawaii is different too, because it's like, as much as the greens are receptive at a place like Canyons because they take such good care of it, you can't replicate the way the ocean air and being at sea level impacts the course itself.
And what's the booking window at Kapalua? Is it 2 days? No. How about 92 days?
Yeah.
And did I mention?
But why is that?
Did I mention because they give a crap about the tourist, they let you book 92 days in advance.
But why is that? They have to give a crap about the tourists.
Yeah, and on Maui right now? Yeah. Oh, I'd also remind you, I'm staying at, because I'm a baller for Christmas, I'm staying at the at Pelican Hill Resort. Do you know they give you not only a 90-day booking window at Pelican Hill? Do you know they also give you a substantial discount when you stay at the resort? Who knew? Who knew?
Shocking.
Who knew? Okay, there's my golf rant for the day.
Okay.
Life is rough. Dry your tears with those Maui palm tree leaves. I will. I will. I absolutely will. I absolutely. Golf at the Olympics was amazing. Scotty Scheffler crying because he won a gold medal was awesome. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Real quick, can we talk about CeeDee Lamb and the Dallas Cowboys? Jerry Jones is not a good owner. And we're going to go back and forth on this. We always wind up getting the Dallas Cowboy fan that defends Jera. I don't know how you defend Jerry Jones in this situation now. I look at his mea culpa on CeeDee Lamb, essentially apologizing to CeeDee Lamb for saying that he wasn't missed, and pay the guy. Pay the guy. Bend over, grab your socks, and pay the guy. That, because you just emasculated yourself to CeeDee Lamb by apologizing to him. And I'm going to say again, Cowboy fan, because I take a lot of flack for saying Dak Prescott is an elite quarterback in this league. I will continue to say it. You can say, well, Monty throws interceptions. And I will just go back and I will say, how many of those are 5-yard overthrows that just get picked because it's a terrible throw? Not many. Does he make bad throws? He does. But I think it was 2 years ago when he had all those interceptions, I think 15 in 4 weeks or something. And 12 of the 15 hit a Dallas Cowboy in the hands before they were intercepted.
Yeah.
Elite. Yeah, I think he's an elite quarterback. And I'll go to my grave asking Dallas Cowboy fans, okay, you don't want Dak, then who do you want?
Yeah, well, and I think this behavior out of Jerry Jones, this is only going to go one of two ways, man. Because it can only go one of two ways, which is, hey, you're either going to pay these guys and you're going to pay them quickly, or you're going to burn it down. And Cowboy fan freaks out when you say that. But what do I have to go off of here with Jerry? And this is the hard part. you've waited way too long to pay Dak Prescott here. Like, the market went way up. You could have had Dak in the 40s at one point. Like, it went way up. Now he's going to be the first $60 million a year, $60 million a year man. I think everyone agrees with that. Whether it's going to be with the Cowboys or someone else, I don't know. But I don't understand the strategy out of Jerry Jones to sit here and play media games with Lamb when you're not even playing games with Micah. You're not even playing games with Dak. You haven't even gotten to those two guys. You're too busy talking about how Lamb is not missed and how, hey, I need to apologize to you and my bad, dude. Like, yeah, obviously you're missed, but you're not missed right now because it's the preseason. Like, what are we doing, dude? Like, you either need to pay these dudes and get this over with and actually be the billionaire that you are, or move on and burn it down. But of course, he's not going to do that because he's a million years old and he doesn't have time to do that. So what's it going to be?
You got to pay him real quick. Again, I don't know. I don't know why I chose to just look at my DMs. I did.
Yeah. What happened? What happened now?
Right. Two people, and I'm not going to say their names. Two people just DM'd me and said, "What's the scam at Prize Picks?"
Bro,
it seems too good to be true. There's no scam at Prize Picks. There's no scam at Prize. You deposit $5, they'll give you 50 more. It's a promotion, and it's given to guys like us because we have a lot of people sign up through our show. So they give us good promotions so that more of our listeners will sign up. There's no scam. They want you to play daily fantasy.
Why do you think that we would push something on our show if it was a scam?
There are no strings attached. You open a new, here are the rules at Prize. Do you guys know what prizepicks.com? Best daily fantasy. I play every day. And it's a really easy proposition. Okay, Aaron Judge. Half a home run. 0.5. Half a home run. More or less. What's the real question they're asking you? Is Aaron Judge going to hit a home run tonight? Yes or no? If it's no, you take more, you take less than 0.5. No home runs. If it's yes, you take more. He's going to hit a home run. It's that simple. Here's the formula to win on Prize Pick. You make 3 selections. You play flex. You play a $5 flex play, which means you only have to get 2 of those 3 right to get paid. That's it. You can, with $55, you can play for months. And with football here now, dude, you can play for months and months and months.
Winning on Prize Picks with football is easy. Like, it's
not hard,
bro.
Winning on Prize Picks is not hard. But I'm serious, you guys. There's no catch. There's no scam. There's no strings attached. Open a new account. Download the Prize Picks app on your phone. It's the easiest way to do it. Use the promo code Monty, M-O-N-T-Y, Monty. Click the link in the description on our YouTube channel. And you deposit $5, they give you 50 more.
It's that easy, dude. Like, it's not difficult.
Are we really at a place in society where everybody thinks there's a scam to everything?
It is what it is.
There's no scam. It's super easy. All right, let's get your thoughts on Dak Prescott real quick before we talk about how screwed you are trying to buy a house. Brandon Butler, if he were on any other team, he would have been viewed like Jared Allen or Justin Herbert. The problem is he wears a star on his helmet. I will go to my grave telling you, if you let Dak Prescott leave, because again, what Cowboy fan forgets, you cannot franchise tag him.
Yeah. He's got you.
You pay him or he's going to go get paid by somebody else. And he will get paid by somebody else. So, if he goes somewhere else and wins multiple Super Bowls, then what? Because you look around this league, there are teams that aspire to win Super Bowls.
I don't know.
That don't have quarterbacks. I look at Tampa and Baker. I still maintain Baker Mayfield's a placeholder there. I look at Cleveland and Deshaun Watson. That's going to come to an end before they're not going to win a Super Bowl without him. They will not win a Super Bowl in Cleveland with Deshaun Watson.
Right. Yeah.
Unless a shocking turnaround happens. right? You're looking at these massive quarterback contracts. How many of them are going to bust? I am not on the Jordan Love train. I am not on the Deshaun Watson train. I think Bryce Love needs to go find a different team because that thing in Carolina is a bust. But if Carolina calls Dak and says, hey, here's $70 million a year guaranteed for 4 years, who's not taking that phone call?
Right.
Who's not taking when Tua inevitably is out for the year and they wind up saving money on that contract? Do you want to go be the starting quarterback of the Miami Dolphins?
You think he wouldn't put numbers up throwing a Tyreek?
Come on. If you let him go, you're in real trouble.
Yeah.
Glenn, I love golfing at Torrey Pines. Epic Pacific Ocean views. Pelican Hill in Newport Beach. I have not played Torrey, and I cannot wait to play it as a full function. I do believe I played it once many years ago, but I am excited to go and play it, and I will play it because you can get on a Torrey pretty readily. You can get on a Torrey. That and I think I need a good golf trip for my birthday next year. Mrs. Monty and I will escape somewhere. I'm excited to play Kapalua. That is one of the truly one of the best courses in the world.
And you know what the thing with that course is too? Every year when the golf season starts, the marketing around is, hey, the boys are going to Hawaii. They're going to Hawaii to start the year, and it's just this thing, and it just has a thing about it.
Yeah. Hundo P. I know I'm excited about seeing the rivalry back in college football. It's going to be epic. Dak is not worth $60 million. Okay, so who is? Dak Prescott or Jordan Love? No, you tell me. Dak Prescott or Jordan Love? The idea that Dak is not worth $60 million. What you're saying is Dak is not worth the salary that Jordan Love just got paid. That's what you're telling me. Because it seems like that's what the argument you're making. Because you look at the highest paid quarterbacks, Joe Burrow at 55, Dak or Joe Burrow? Well, Joe Burrow hasn't been able to stay healthy. Jordan Love at $55 million with 160 guaranteed. I'm taking Dak Prescott every day. Trevor Lawrence or Dak Prescott? A little closer. I'm probably leaning a little bit towards Dak, but I think if Trevor Lawrence has another year and they go to the playoffs, I'm probably going to say Trevor Lawrence.
One caveat on Joe. I think that both Joe and Dak have had that one major injury that kept them out for a year. They both.
Joe Burrow has had a run of injuries here. Dak had one major injury.
But in fairness, track record, Joe went to the Super Bowl, right? Against the Rams. Wasn't that the Super Bowl? So
I think Joe Burrow is a very good quarterback. I am not trying to tell you.
I think Joe Burrow's money justifies paying Dak 60.
Joe Burrow's money has been wasted
so far, for sure. He's been hurt.
I'm just telling you. Yeah. Like looking at his numbers.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow. Yeah, I don't think Joe Burrow's been.
I mean, there's no question this is a prove-it year for Joe Burrow. Like, it's got to happen this year.
I mean, his stats are gaudy. I would agree with that. But he's a guy that he's got to play more than he's got to play the full season this year.
Yeah.
And not dinged up constantly like he has over his career. He's had a run of these injuries where he's missed time.
Yeah.
And the idea that Dak Prescott's not worth $60 million, is he worth more than Kyler Murray's making at 160?
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts or Dak Prescott? I'm taking Dak Prescott right now. Lamar Jackson or Dak Prescott?
Why do you take Dak over Jalen right now?
Because Dak is a superior thrower of the football. And I think Jalen Hurts has been tremendously damaged by the shit that came out about him ignoring play calls.
So are you saying you lost respect for him because of that? Or
yes, he's got to re-earn. I think he has to prove he's a professional. Jalen Hurts lost a lot of respect around this league. And the idea that you're ignoring playoffs, you're ignoring play calls in a scenario that is going to determine your season's fate. When you needed to make a 7-yard throw, yet you got selfish and wanted to go deep and it got picked off and wrecked your season. And people got fired over that. And it turns out that happened multiple times in a season. Sorry, I'm not taking Jalen Hurts. Lamar Jackson's a complete waste of money. Sorry, I understand it. People think that, hey, $185 million. I would far rather have paid Dak Prescott than Lamar Jackson, who also always gets hurt. Justin Herbert, you're starting to figure out that maybe Jim Harbaugh's not the cure-all that everybody says he was. Because I think it's going to be a fractional improvement this year. And I think Justin Herbert has to have another monster season. And I hope that they are able to protect him. Because if you protect him, the $193 million doesn't look like very much money for Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
And if you're asking me which quarterback I would take right now, I probably would take Justin Herbert over Dak Prescott. Jared Goff or Dak Prescott?
Yeah, it's probably Dak. I mean, Dak's a superior quarterback, just like stats to stats. I think what Goff's done in Detroit's been impressive. I think people weren't expecting that.
That's closer than you think it is.
Yeah.
But I think there's a big argument to be...
That Jalen Hurts situation sucks, dude. Like, because he's a really good quarterback. He's done some great things in the league.
I love him as a player. I just am not ready to... you hear those situations. And again, I've covered the NFL for 30 plus years. You never see guys do that and win.
Yeah. And he's had chances.
When you now know that he does not have respect for his coaches and that he ignores play calls, ooh, you rarely see that. The fact that got out, that's very telling about what's going on inside that organization.
Right.
And you ignored Brian Johnson's play call. And furthermore, Nick Sirianni ignored Brian Johnson's play call. And then Jalen Hurts ignored the play call that came in. And Nick Sirianni kept his job.
Somehow.
I can't understand it. UW fan Jim, Kirk Cousins to the Cowpokers. That's who you're going to end up with. And I don't even think Kurt's a bad option. Because very clearly, Big Penix Energy is a lot closer than you thought he was.
Yeah.
So... I don't know. Is Dak Prescott a guy that you think can carry? The Dallas Cowboys are not a championship organization.
No.
Is Dak Prescott a guy in the right spot? If Dak Prescott were on Kansas City, best team in the NFL right now,
I'm not sure.
I think he's a much better quarterback because you'd have guys catching the football.
Well, and you had Andy Reid.
And, well, I agree with that. But Mike McCarthy, here's the thing. Mike McCarthy's not the problem in Dallas. Is Andy Reid a better coach? Absolutely he is.
See, I think that's the problem for Dallas. You've got a lot of guys who aren't necessarily the problem, but you don't have guys who are the solution.
You don't have guys that are the answer.
Yeah.
The reason.
And so, if Dak was in a better spot, what would Dak be under Kyle Shanahan? What would Dak be under, the best offensive minds in the game? I don't know. I mean, he'd obviously be better, but I look at the Kansas City one's an interesting comparison because I think
Josh Allen or Dak Prescott?
They're the same guy. Same guy.
Very much the same guy.
Yeah. I mean, I think, the unfortunate part for Josh, and I have no problem saying it, I think Josh probably has a Super Bowl if not for Patty Mahomes. Like, how many times has he run into Patty Mahomes and they've lost because the Chiefs were just better?
Yep.
That's the hard part with Dak is that I feel like the NFC, most of the time right now, it is not an easy path, but it's been an easy path historically speaking. Like,
I
it's
don't
not
disagree.
Like, it's not like you're playing,
I just don't know. Is there an expectation you're going to win in Dallas? I don't think there is. I mean, you're not paying guys now.
See, and that's my point. If you were a winning organization, wouldn't all this be buttoned up already?
Yeah, because you extend your quarterback with a year left, 2 years left.
Yeah, you don't let it get to drama.
You do new deals. I think if we've learned anything from the Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes stuff, you got to pay wide receivers, but you got to pay wide receivers who can catch the football.
Yeah.
You have to, like, it's why they paid Tyreek Hill and Tua in Miami. You pay the guys that make the difference. And when you don't pay Tyreek Hill in Kansas City, you missed him. And you wind up with Tony, and you wind up with.
But in all fairness to them, they basically said they were fine with that they were cool with that they didn't really want to pay Tyreek, that they wanted to save some money and let Patrick make the best of it. And if they didn't win a Super Bowl, they were fine with it because they knew they were going to reload in the draft, and they still went out and won a Super Bowl.
But again, I go to Josh Allen in Buffalo. Who did you replace Diggs with? I don't know either. Keon Coleman better perform.
The Ayuk thing over the weekend,
right?
Bro. Look at the Ayuk situation. What are we hearing now out of the Ayuk situation? What did we say?
Yeah.
I specifically remember us talking about this last week. Hey, it's going to come back around. They're going to have a chance to renegotiate with Brandon Ayuk because he's going to go to the market and he's not going to like his options. So what did we get? Oh man, you know what? They're re-engaged in contract talks, and there's a thought that now it's possible again to get a deal done. They're going to get a deal done, and it's going to be done before week 1, and we're going to forget any of this happened.
And I think it's really interesting that when you look at guys like Josh Allen, he's got a defensive guy for a head coach. Now look at a guy like Caleb Williams. He's got a defensive guy for a head coach. And look at the best quarterbacks in this league.
Jared Goff.
He's got a special teams guy for a head coach. I look at the best quarterbacks and the best teams in this league, and they have offensive guys with great quarterbacks. And I look at teams, let's call it the Rams. When you have a guy like Sean McVay, he's got excellent offensive staff around him.
Look at Stroud in Houston.
Multiple of his guys. Right, but you have a defensive guy as the head coach, but you've got a whole offensive unit to develop him. And now that's what Caleb's got in Chicago because Ebersucks got exposed, right?
Yeah.
But my point is, a guy like Josh Allen, I don't think he has the tools. We haven't seen the best of Josh Allen yet. We have not seen the best of him. And when your best receiver is arguably your tight end, I'm worried for that team because I also think we saw their number one defense didn't look like a number one defense against Caleb Williams.
No.
Now, granted, it's their first game. It was the Bears' second game. There's a lot in that. But I look at that. Did you guys have any idea how tough that division is? Are you out of your goddamn mind? I have to think on some level the Jets are going to be better, and that defense is elite.
Talk about having to prove it this year.
Right? The Miami Dolphins, I think they have injury. They have depth issues on defense. That division's going to be a grinder. Right? I look at the North. I have to think Baltimore is the best team in that division. I have to. And if Joe Burrow comes back, great. But I think the AFC is going to be very interesting quarterback-wise because there's a lot of dudes in make-or-break situations. Does Las Vegas have a quarterback? Do the Chargers have a team? Is that not Kansas City's division? I think it probably is. It is.
But
I don't know. I think Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, those contracts are really interesting because Josh Allen to this point, I don't think he's been an elite quarterback.
I think the hard part for teams with franchise guys is that this league is very much black and white when it comes to quarterbacks. You either have one or you don't. And guys like Dak and Josh Allen and Joe Burrow who haven't won a Super Bowl yet, but are very good. What are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to just let Dak walk? Are you supposed to just say, see ya, dude. We're going to go and get, old guy coming off an Achilles and Kirk Cousins to fill in? Like that doesn't make a lot of sense.
I'm looking at Josh Allen's numbers. Do you guys understand that 4,500 yard season was fucking 4 years ago? That was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And his interception numbers and his rating and QBR are all going in the wrong direction.
And why is it that nobody talks about that? Oh, that's right, because he plays in Buffalo, not Dallas. That's
or
why.
Not with Aaron Rodgers' situation with the Jets or Daniel Jones with the Giants. He plays on the right New York franchise. But that's shocking to me. His best season was 4 years ago.
And by the way,
this
is the same guy who's got the balls this offseason to come out and say, hey, yeah, we don't really miss Diggs. We don't miss him.
29 touchdowns and 18 interceptions last year.
Yeah, I think you missed Diggs a little bit, dude.
We'll see what see what he does this year. We'll see what I think. Again, I'll just keep saying, huge year for Tua. Huge year for Josh Allen. Huge year for Joe Burrow. Huge year for Aaron Rodgers. There are so many quarterbacks that this is a massive season. Massive season.
All jokes aside, huge year for Caleb Williams.
Well, I mean, he's got a little bit longer of a leash. Huge year for Russell Wilson.
Yeah, but I think that for Caleb, the difference between him and these guys, obviously it's his first year. Those guys have been in the league. But I think that the expectations being put on Caleb Williams were not on Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I'm a big believer that you very rarely see quarterbacks be bad their first year and then succeed.
Yeah. So they got to be good.
You have to be competent right out of the gate.
All you need him to do, and it's crazy I'm saying it like this. All you got to do is make a wild card game. That's it. That's all you have to do. And this season was a insane success. Don't even win the division. You don't have to win the division.
I cannot believe that was 4 years ago.
Yeah, it's crazy.
4 full seasons ago was
and by the
Josh
way,
Allen's
we
best
haven't even
year.
talked about Brock Purdy yet, who hasn't, that's still cooking up. So I'm just saying,
I think it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be very, very interesting. The Monty Show is always presented by The Advocates at theadvocates.com. I'm glad we're talking football, man. So good to be back talking football. Back tomorrow. Give those motorcycles some spaces, folks. Don't crowd them. If you get in an accident on your bike, you get hurt at work today, theadvocates.com, or you can chat with an injury attorney 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and it won't cost you a penny. Theadvocates.com. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.